Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to Small Higurashi When They Cry. I mean, you can make decimal points with only ones and zeros. How do you think we can get floating point data types? Honestly. Uh, in other words, she could never be cruel. If the hag thought the same way as I do, it was very possible. The one who took care of problems from the underside, X, was the one who actually governed the curse of Oyashiro-sama. If the hag became concerned about something, X would deal with it, either directly or indirectly. Or maybe the hag and X would discuss the details first. But did X really exist? If he did, his place in the village hierarchy was a lot more important than that of the successor. Unlike Mion, he was too nice. He was discreet, cruel, and cunning. Oh. Furthermore, he was extremely close to the hag, someone who would have a lot of contact with her just before it was time for the curse. Because of the way Tomitake-san died, it could be someone who regularly dealt with unusual drugs. He could be a member of a medical institution, the director of Iri Clinic. Iri? Yeah. In this isolated village, Iri was famous for opening such a beautiful clinic and for working so hard for the villagers' sake. The villagers liked his mature personality and really respected him. There's nothing scarier than a doctor who's also a murderer. If Iri was the person behind the curse, all the mysterious deaths could be explained. However, there was only a slim chance of Iri being X. The main reason being that the hag wouldn't trust him. Also because we know what he thinks of Satoko and all. Don't think he would have gone for the same choices there. Like many of the elderly, the hag doesn't like young people, and you should never trust him because of his age. Furthermore, she had openly criticized his behavior among the relatives once. Although Iri was famous, he was an outsider after all. He wasn't born here. He tried to maintain a good relationship with the villagers as the director of the clinic, but that was just on the surface. I couldn't even imagine the hag telling him about her worries, or about the villagers' underside. If she was as suspicious of others as I was, then she'd only gather trustworthy people to deal with that underside. The first people that came to my mind were the leaders of the three families. Leaving Rika-chan out, the head of the Kimiyoshi family was a strong possibility. He was the only one who could advise Empress Sonozaki. They were of a similar age, and everyone knew they were very close outside the family councils. Furthermore, as for mayor, he often went to the Sonozaki house just before Watanagashi to discuss festival preparations. I could easily picture them talking privately. The one who executed the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The one who murdered Takano-san and Tomitake-san. The mastermind behind the series of mysterious deaths that had been going on for the past 5 years. Was he coming after me? Did he get to Satoshi-kun? When I thought about Satoshi-kun, I felt elevated. I was fearful of possibly being this year's victim until just a moment ago. I was scared that X was after me. But when I thought about it, I realized, whoever it was, this person had gone Satoshi-kun. I'd looked so hard, but I couldn't find him. I'd almost forgotten about this enemy. For better or for worse, he was going to appear before me again. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't find that enemy. But now, he was trying to find me. That was it. I wasn't only being chased, I was chasing too. When I realized all this, I was no longer afraid of dying to the 50 years curse. It had become a game. I wasn't only being threatened, I was threatening too. Now was the time to settle the score for Satoshi-kun. Now was the time to awaken passions that had grown weak over the past year. I could feel righteous indignation and courage flare up within me. The only emotion that can defeat fear is anger. When my anger completely overtook my fear, it awakes. I felt as if I were reborn.
おばあさま、そろそろ目を覚ましてくださいません?
I see. I kicked her wheelchair rather violently. But that didn't wake her up either.
ひょっとして眠ったふりをしてやり過ごそうとか考えてません?
I grabbed her hair and pulled her head back up. But even then, the hag still stayed silent with a straight face. Then I noticed something. I looked for an appropriate torture device. They were all large scale, none of them being particularly handy. That's when I saw a cigarette lighter on a cushion in the tatami room. One of the relatives must have left it there. I lit the lighter. A huge flame appeared. I turned the lighter off and went back to the hag with it.
見えてます?見えてない?これ誰の忘れ物かわかりませんけどね。ライターです。
I lit it in front of her eyes.
今からこれであなたの鼻を焼きます。嫌でしょ?私も嫌です。ですから寝たふりをやめてください。
There was still no response. I think she's dead. Like, her shock was too much for her in her old age. Probably why it's illegal. Anyway, I can be illegally modified stun gun. Anyway, I put the flame right under her nose without hesitation. The tip of the flame touched the tip of her nose. The flame must have burned her nose hair. It smelled terrible. I was already certain, but I continued anyway. I brought the flame closer to her eye. Her eyelid didn't move one bit. The flame burned her eyelashes, making it smell awful again. I turned the lighter off and then felt her frozen wrist. I didn't feel any warmth. I didn't feel the pulse either.
こいつスタンガンで死んだ?
There was no way she could pretend to be asleep while being burned, even if she could endure the pain. Anyone would reflexively move their eyelids if a flame came close to their eyes. But she didn't. I turned the sink water on and aimed the end of a hose at the hag's face. The water pressure wasn't too high, but by squeezing the tip of the hose I could make it squirt out. The water hit the hag in the face, but there was still no reaction. Shit. You've got to be kidding me. She's dead. The one who was at the center of everything is dead now. I knew she wouldn't talk, but I didn't expect her to end up dead. I'd never even thought of killing her. I walked around the room restlessly. I didn't feel guilty, but instead felt frustrated with what I'd done. Come on. I need to calm down. What do I need to be afraid of? Calm down. And stay cool. Calm down. Stay cool. I could feel my brain starting to calm down, and my emotions cooling down with it. She was my true enemy. It was just that I killed her before confronting her about it. Sooner or later, I would have killed her anyway. She wouldn't have said anything in the first place, so there wasn't really a reason why I should have let her live. I didn't realize that until now, and that was why I got frustrated. My revenge for Satoshi-kun started with the unexpected death of my grandmother. I mean, for like the last part, I don't think I was expecting her to have not been planning on killing her already. I'm not sure how to get my point across. I'd expected that she killed her because yeah, because she was a true enemy. Yeah, it was such a strange feeling, like I was wearing sopping wet clothes. I replaced that feeling with anger. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forgive the hag for abusing the Hojo family, including Satoshi-kun, for so many years. She cornered him psychologically as well as physically. She didn't deserve an easy death from a stun gun. I picked up a whip that was hanging on the wall. The whip was designed to make sure the person on the receiving end got seriously injured. I swung it up, then down. The sound reminded me of when I was a child hitting things with a jump rope I pretended was a whip. But unlike then, I'd made a purple mark on the hag's face, and reddish-black blood started oozing out. I swung it up and then down again. This time, the whip hit her in the head. Her hair flew in the air. I saw a bunch of her hair on the tip of the whip. At the end of the bunch of hair, there was a piece of her skin. It seemed the whip had ripped part of her scalp off. I continued to hit her with the whip. I didn't bother removing the hair beforehand. The tip of the whip was divided into many points, with each point having a fish hook on the end. Ugh. Those hooks, added to the speed of the whip, not only scratched the victim, but tore their skin as well. The hag's hair was all messed up, and her face was getting bloody. She'd started to look like a real demon. I stopped the whipping, not because my arm was tired, but because I couldn't stand the feeling of her hair on the tip touching me every time I swung the whip. I threw the whip at the hag. Button. Breathing heavily, I realized I was covered in her hair. It almost felt like thousands of maggots crawling all over me. I brushed it off violently.
思い知ったか、悪魔め。
I put my hands on my knees and exhaled roughly. It was then that I noticed it. I perked up and turned around. The extra footsteps, I'm guessing? There it is. The person who had been watching me since I snuck into the shrine storage. I sensed this person sitting in the tatami room. It enjoyed watching me torture my grandmother. An overwhelming emotion started to swallow me up. I tried desperately not to feel it.
いつからそこにいたんだか言ってくれればよかったのに。
It was just there. Is that perhaps the mysterious X it has been doing? Just like Satoshi-kun, it was just there. It was extremely uncomfortable to have it just be there. I wonder if, since Rika is supposed to be a Yashiro-san, if she can actually see it or feel it differently. Because we know she has the whole time thingy. Anyway.
そっか。 レナが言ってたもんね。
It was extremely uncomfortable to have it just be.
あんたお社様ってのは。
I smiled boldly, and yet I could feel my body shivering.
冗談じゃない。あんたがお社様で、たたりは本当にお社様のたたりってわけなの？バーカ！誰が信じるかよ。へ？
It was just my imagination. It couldn't be the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The curse shouldn't be real. Everything was done by humans. They made everything look like it was a curse.
まあ、あんたが見たいってんなら勝手だけどさ。
Yeah, I don't know how you can go on about how it was all done by humans while simultaneously going, yeah, Satoshi-kun's been following me around the whole time. Yeah. Yeah.
私は見物料を取るつもりもない。でも、私の邪魔をしようってんなら、あんただって容赦しないよ。
No matter what I said, nothing happened. It was like trying to communicate with an insect. I felt like I was staring at a spider in the middle of its web, and the spider was staring back. I turned to the hag in the wheelchair. Couldn't leave her body here forever. If I don't need to make her death known, then it should be quick, and it's best if her body doesn't exist. Not even in this secret, underground torture room. Whew. Exhaled to try to calm myself down. Oh, I remember now. When I was a little girl, Kasai used to love making me feel scared. He often told me scary stories about various horrible things. I recalled his story about the secret torture room of the Sonozaki family. According to this story, there was a well in the torture room for dumping bodies in. There was a pile of tortured corpses at the bottom of the well, and resentful moans could be heard echoing from there. And about halfway down the well, there was a different tunnel, which was a secret passage leading into the distant mountains. That bit was from Mion's telling of the story. It was probably an amalgamation of tellings from different relatives. The room was supposed to be a huge secret, but everyone got loose lips at the chance to have some fun scaring the young successor.
ミオン、昔、親戚の誰かが言ってたじゃん？この地下の秘密部屋のどこかに隠し井戸があって、外へ出られる秘密の通路があるって話。さっきの音は聞こえてなかった？ばあさんを鞭で叩く音。
Mion didn't reply, but I saw her bite her lip.
大丈夫。あんたは叩かない。でもね、あんたが不愉快だと、ばあさんをもっと叩くかもしれない。今度は鞭なんかじゃなくて。そこの奥、暗がりにも牢屋があるでしょ。その中。
Holding a dead body hostage. Mion pointed weakly. I walked down to where her finger indicated. A light bulb lit up this cell. It was a lot smaller than the one Mion was in. It was very shallow. They didn't even need to open the door to see how tiny it was. Of course there's no well in there. I became angry, assuming that she'd lied to me. But after considering it, I didn't actually think she would at this point. I mean, it's kind of different, but for some reason the image of, I think it was Lovecraft who wrote it, the Rats and Walls. Just, the image of that just came to me, because that's in, like, underground prison kind of complex, and from memory, like near the end, they're walking through this long tunnel, and there's a well filled with bones, like human bones. I mean, they were eating the human bones in that story, but still. Continuing on though, I opened the door and walked in. I noticed something immediately. There was an opening right in the middle of the cell. This opening was naturally disguised. The way the rocks and the shadows were positioned perfectly hid the well. The tip of a rock inside the cell concealed the entrance. Unless you went in, you'd never notice. But it was such a shallow cell that nobody would ever think of going in. Besides, the bars allow you to see inside well enough. Ha ha ha. Inside well. Anyway, the cell was not even a few meters deep, so it would only take a glance to see everything. Nobody would think of unlocking the door and walking in. But walking in was the only way anyone could find the well. Furthermore, there were many cells in this huge cave. Who'd think that one of them was hiding a secret well? The inside of the well was dark. I couldn't see anything. But every little noise I made produced echoes. I could tell this was a very deep well. I brought a flashlight from the torch room and shone it down the well. It almost looked more like a vertical tunnel. Obviously a man-made one at that. There were wedges on the wall, like a ladder, and it looked as if they were inviting me to descend. It's kind of ironic that the secret escape route from an underground torture room ended up being a well that takes you even further down. You had no way of knowing whether it would take you to freedom or to hell. Furthermore, there were the tortured bodies of past victims at the bottom. Who would be able to go down this well without hesitation? Nobody in their right mind would go down this well to look for a secret tunnel, hearing the voices of the dead all the while.
ミオンはあの井戸降りたことあるの？降りたくもない。それに関しては著しく同感。この秘密部屋の犠牲者たちが放り込まれた井戸になんか好き好んで降りたくはないもんね。
I went back to the torture room and then returned to the cave, pushing the wheelchair containing the hag. Neon screamed.
シオン、バッチャを落とすけ？落とすんじゃないよ。捨てるんだよ。もう死んでるしね。さっきの拷問で死んだんじゃないよ。多分、ばあさんはスタンガンで死んだんだよ。心臓麻痺とかで。
I could just leave her body here, but I don't want it to rot, you know.
ひどい。なんなら、死後の鬼ババの世話もする？私は構わないけどね。ん？
Oh. Neon covered her ears and shook her head. Everything I said seemed to bother Neon. Her own life wasn't guaranteed at this point.
シオン。どうしてこんなことを。さーて、どうしてだと思います？
Nobody said anything for a while. The silence was soon broken.
サトシ。敵討ちってこと。敵討ちになったかもわからないけどね。いきなり後ろからバチンだったから、何が何やらわかんないうちにご臨終だったろうし。ねえミオン、今こうして思い返すと、私はやっぱりばあさんを殺すだけの理由があったように思うの。
Now that I think about it, yes, what every murderer says. That's right. I did have a reason for murdering that person who I've murdered already. Yep.
なぜかわかる？単にサトシ君を殺した張本人だからってだけじゃないよ。それは嘘をついたから。
I slapped the hag's head.
あんたも言ったよね。 私が爪を剥がせば全て許すって。だから私は爪を剥がしたんだよ、3枚も。それでけじめがついたってことになったんだよね。でも約束は守られなかった。サトシ君はやっぱり消されてしまった。どうして？どういうことなの？
I continued to slap the hag's head. Her blood was all over my hand by then, and it felt gross. I tried to wipe it off on her clothes, but then her hair got on my hand. I ran to the sink of the torture room and washed my hands with a brush. When I was done, I went back to Mion's cell.
あの時、サトシ君がいなくなってしまった後、あんたが来て言ったよね。サトシ君と私の関係は、けじめがもうついてたって。そしてこうも言ったよね。サトシ君の失踪の理由は、園崎本家は何も知らないと。うん。嘘だ！
Lied, 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 lied. My shouts echoed throughout the cave. I was breathing heavily. I felt like I used up all the air in my lungs.
あんたが何も知らないのは本当だと思う。あんた自身、ばあさんに真の意味で信頼を得ていたかは怪しいからね。でも、ばあさんが本当に私のけじめでサトシ君を許したかはわからないよ。アマちゃんなあんたに、本当のところを打ち明けるわけもない。
The hag didn't keep her promise. She said she'd forgive everyone, but she lied. From memory, she just said that this would be your punishment. Nothing more, nothing less. She didn't forgive. She didn't forgive Satoshi-kun.
嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき、嘘つき！かの、返してサトシ君。返してよサトシ君。返して。
I kicked the hag's leg repeatedly. Each time I kicked, the wheelchair made a squeaking noise. I ran out of breath and kneeled down. Mion was still covering her ears and was now shaking. There were tears in her eyes.
怖がらせちゃったね。ごめん。ミオンがミオンの言うように何も知らなかったなら、ミオンはいじめないからね。
However, since you know I can't let you out until all this is all over.
安心して。でも、もしミオンも嘘をついていたなら仕方ない。その時は、どういう目に遭わされても仕方ない。
I was half expecting a creepy CG there, but okay.
仕方ないよね。
End of the chapter. Okay. Sting of Payback. Eek. I got page 183. I wasn't planning to kill the hag so quickly. I was going to kill her anyway, but it was too soon. People would normally assume that the Sonozaki family operates as a hierarchy. That's not true. It's actually more like a system of government. Several ministries stem from the main family, each forms a hierarchy of its own. These ministries don't communicate with one another. The people who belong to a given ministry don't know what other ministries are doing. That way, the Sonozaki family's dealings are kept perfectly secret. Of course, most important people of the family govern several ministries. They know, of course, about their own ministries. They know a little bit about the ministries their relatives run. but none of them know everything. There are ministries that work in the open. There are ministries that work unseen. And there are some smaller ones that Oryu runs herself. Neon seems to know about most of them, but she doesn't necessarily know them all. In fact, she didn't know about the curse. Possibly because it is actually a curse. And considering that, the fact that the hag died before I could interrogate her is a huge loss. Page 185. The head of the Higurashi family was the one who called the main house most often after the 50 years curse. My father called the second most. My parents were still high in the hierarchy. The stir caused by my mother's disownment still hung over us, so we got treated as outcasts. So the fact that my father received so many calls proved how much the hag valued us despite the distance at which we were kept, demonstrating her own two-faced respect for both sides of the coin. My father seems to be in charge of the intelligence bureau. He reported police information, gossip, and rumors going around in the Yakuza business to the hag. He silences, stirs, and distorts that information at her request. By the way, my servant Kasai is an old friend of my father's. That must be why Kasai knows many things. But I don't know if my father is involved in the curse's execution. My assumption is that although he gathered information on the police investigation about the case, he wasn't involved in the execution itself. The fact that my father and the hag have this close connection isn't widely known. People know that she uses this information network, but they don't look very far beyond that. In the same way, it's possible that a curse execution team exists under the hag's direct control. People just aren't aware of it. So I think I'll end it there for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your feedbacks in the comments, and I might read them when this comes out in 7 hours. Till then, next time, in case, see ya.